expansion and build out maximum single family units. Again, I don't have a clear understanding of how often that's happening, but I know it is. And here we're expressly counter the purpose because we're replacing a more affordable unit with a far less affordable unit. Next slide, please. And then finally, and there's an amendment that addressed this, which is to help acknowledge preceding intent. One of the directives that's in here is to acknowledge the intent of home. And so I want to be clear that just being guided solely by the intent of home, of missing middle, and other kind of ideological accomplishments, that intent is not universally shared. And even this organization has grown sort of very sophisticated in moving forward in a very uncontested way. And so I'd like to see, and this is the second motion, try and make sure that we got here for a reason. And that includes the existing intent behind whatever the existing category or zoning or policy was before we got to these changes. So while the council is free to instruct the manager to ignore those interests, I'd recommend that we at least acknowledge the stated intent and purpose of what protections exist that we might be dismantling. And that's really it. I've tried to blitz through that. But I'd hope that, and I'll say this, I'll say one or two more things here real quick, which is, we need housing, we need incremental density, but what we're seeing in cases is this expansion of luxury housing in the market that is displacing low and mid-income Austinites. And I'm uncomfortable cloaking everything we do under the idea of lowercase affordability when we're seeing, whether they're edge cases or not, instances where that's clearly not happening, or it's clearly being used for a different purpose. The other thing I'll ask is, and this is alludes to the first motion, is it's the idea that we do, I think, when we are involving people's chief assets, need to be cognizant of the impacts of what that means. And that means, in my mind, a more collaborative process. And I've laid that out in a recommendation.